Yeager. I am the director of the Student Falcon Center at Fairmont State University, and my co-presenter is Spencer Flanagan. He is the fitness and wellness coordinator. Just to briefly talk about myself, I've been there from the beginning. The building opened in 2005, and myself and one other employee did all of the startup. We'll talk a little bit about that later. I have a very variety of employment. I actually never started working in higher education until we moved to West Virginia. And I worked at the WVU Rec Center first, and then I got the director job down at Fairmont State, and I've been there ever since. Go ahead, Spencer.
Morning, everybody. My name is Spencer Flanagan. I am the fitness and wellness coordinator. I've been with Fairmont State since 2015 in some capacity. I started in 2015 as a group fitness instructor and a student, and moved into the weight room as a student employee. After that, I became a building supervisor, and then after finished up undergrad, moved into a part-time fitness and wellness coordinator position, and ultimately moved into full-time this past year. So it's my first rec position, but I'm very familiar with the Falcon Center. I love the Falcon Center, and I love rec, so here we are.
So the basic learning objectives for today is to, one, learn the history of the Student Falcon Center on the campus of Fairmont State. Understand the uniqueness of our building because it is a multifunctional facility, and how staffing has found the solutions to scheduling the many events and functions that happen in our building. And last, hopefully for you to learn how to prioritize scheduling in your own facility. So just a brief background of what Fairmont State University is. It's a campus of about 120 acres. We have 4 residence halls, college apartments. There's about 1,100 that live on campus, and we do serve 13 counties. It was founded in 1865. This is kind of fun. We celebrated 150 years in 2015. We have approximately 39 students. This has changed over the years because we used to call ourselves a co-campus with Pierpont Community and Technical College, so our numbers were much greater. But recently, based on state mandation, we have split. So although some of the programs are still on our campus, we are truly looked at a divided campus. They are Pierpont and we are Fairmont State University. 90 fields of study, 41-degree programs at different levels. But I think the key is that 86% of our students receive some form of financial aid. This is just a basic view, but I did want to point out this building right here, which is the largest footprint on our campus, is the Falcon Center. It is attached to an existing building, which everyone on campus still calls Coal Bank. So even though this is attached to our building, we refer to this as the Falcon Center, and we refer to this as Coal Bank. But as you see, it's the center of campus. And really, to get to any of these things here, you have to walk through our building. And this up here is an athletic building and the football field, et cetera. But it is it already is the central part of campus because it's such a large building. And that's such a view of the front of it. We have a big front quad as well. You'll hear later we have a lot of events that take place out there too. So what is the Falcon Center? It's a multifunctional building combining recreation and student union operations. It opened in 2005. I myself am the director, so I was hired in July of 2004. Not a whole lot of time to do a lot. There was nothing in the building, not a piece of furniture, not one piece of a fitness equipment, not a trash can, not a clock, nothing. And it was myself and one other employee who'd been there quite a while, and we just probably spent a good year or two hustling quite a bit. We had to hire everybody, set up all policies, just everything. It was a big blur those first 2 years. We've had various staffing models over the time, but just to speak currently, we have myself. So I am the director really of the facility. Phil LaConte, you all know him. He is the director of recreation. He oversees the majority of the student workers and does a lot. I am super appreciative of having him. He was hired 3 years ago. He's probably the brains behind a lot of what we do, and I'm really grateful for having him. Spencer, I like to talk about Spencer because I do oversee our student supervisors. They're kind of handpicked. We like to have people who have done something in the building and are very familiar with what we do. And he was one of them. And I have a good history with Spencer, and I fought to open this position up. It was part-time at first. I encouraged Spencer, who was just on the cusp of graduating, to apply for this job, knowing that it was only a part-time job, but that it would probably move into full-time. I was really glad that we could give him this position, and he's now a full-time employee. And again, I'm super glad he's on our team. And Tina Mascara, who does intramurals and club sports, she was the other employee when I first started. She has been with the college for 25 years, probably the most loyal person I know to this college of Fairmont State. She gets moved around a lot, unfortunately. She's actually reporting to someone else, which is a very strange model, but she feels like she's a campus recreation employee, and she will always be on our staff. So this is just a slide showing the difference in what the recreation facilities are versus student union. So we have 3 gyms, we have aquatics area, weight room, 2 fitness rooms, a track, which is unique, you'll see in some pictures, locker rooms, family locker room. And then on the student union facility side, we have the campus bookstore and a textbook store. So they have 2 things, one where you get all your textbooks and one where you kind of get all the retail. That is a vendor called Follett. We have a food bank in our facility. I oversee that. That's another thing I do oversee. Dining services, pretty much all the dining services are also in this building. So we have a cafeteria, and the only cafeteria on campus. And recently we have added Chick-fil-A. Chalaka is the version of Aladdin's, that's theirs, and we have a Starbucks. So it's become a pretty popular area. They also do all the catering services. We have a student health in our building. We have a copy center in our building. We have 2 computer labs in our building, and we have a whole conference center, which is 3 conference rooms and a boardroom. Also, the conference services offices are there. There's a wing off of Colbank, the top level, where all student and residence life are now housed. Aladdin has their offices there, and then we also have all our offices in the building. It's about 100 and, well, I've heard 2 versions, but it's about 140,000 square feet, the building. These are just some pictures I'm going to throw up. This is our pool. The pool got value engineered, that's what they call it. It started off as a 6-lane pool with a deep end, but when budget constraints came, it became a 4-lane pool. The deepest part of this pool is about 4.5 feet. As you can see, there's a 0 entry, which is nice. We have a wheelchair, so anybody that's disabled or small kids or elderly can easily get in. And the back here, we have a hot tub. It seats about 10 people, I think. Underneath this bulkhead is a sauna. It's a great recreational pool. Kids love it. You know, this little thing over here, they all play around here. We do swimming lessons in this end. So we can have swimming lessons going. We usually always have at least 1, sometimes 2 lane lines going. You know, it's wonderful for our day camp. I mean, and they go every day into the pool. And I think it's probably a little less stressful for the lifeguards because they're not dealing with the deep end. This is kind of a visual of our weight and fitness room. You can't see it all, but later on, Spencer is going to highlight that room a little more. This is what we call this is a view from the 3rd floor, but if you look down to the 2nd floor, this is a very big open space. We call it our main street, and there's a lot of activities that take place here. On this floor, to the right, you can't see it, but it's above the gym, is the cafeteria. Down here, student health. Our offices are on this floor now. Over here is where our labs and our conference area is. This is a view of the track. The track is suspended between the second and the third floor. It is the only thing on that floor. 4 lanes, wide, padded, 5 times around to make a mile. So nobody's knees ever bother them. We don't see hardly any injuries ever up there, even when they're going fast. It's nice. It's a lot of visual because it's only the track, and you can look down on the gyms and you can basically see the whole building when you're walking around it. This is one of our 2 fitness rooms. This one right here is about 900 square feet, I believe. This is just a view of one of our locker rooms. Similar to you guys, we rent lockers. We do it by the semester for our students and by the year for our employees. And then we have some daily lockers in here, and in our hallway we have a lot of other daily lockers. We do provide locks. We got tired of theft, so now they can just check out a lock that we provide, and we have pretty much eliminated all theft for that reason. And this is a view of Gym 1. This is our conference center. It's a little older picture. We're trying from our home to come up with as many pictures as we could find. But it's 3 separate rooms with, this is a bulkhead right here. So it pulls across out of this, and it becomes a kind of soundproof room. So we have 3 soundproof rooms. This is with the whole thing opened up. It can usually seat almost up to 200 people in here with the drop-down screen. We've recently revamped this entire room. So on each one of these walls, and there's one behind there, we have big, large screen TVs, so it's far more updated, and most of the time they rearrange the room so that they're facing these walls now. I wanted to show you this gym. This is the Colbank gym, but this is set up. So it has carpet tiles, you know, tables, chairs. It's either a wedding or a prom. This gym gets used a lot. This is the oldest gym. Underneath these tiles are hardwood. We literally from the ceiling have acoustical tiles. These are acoustical tiles on the wall, and we are in the process right now, sort of been battling for 3 years because they're old and they're dirty and they fall off. They're going to remove all these acoustical tiles, take it down to the wall, and then probably we're going to update them with some, you know, more advanced and technological tiles. And this is a picture of our boardroom. So here you have 3 separate conference rooms. This is a permanent wall. On the other side of it is this 3rd room where our board of governors, there's a lot of meetings that take place in our boardroom. This is where the new Chick-fil-A is. As you can see, it's pretty crowded. This is the Chalaka. Around the corner, part of, I'm not sure if we have a full front view of it, is where Starbucks, which is actually connected to our bookstore. So you go into Starbucks, you can hang out there. There's a glass door, and behind the glass doors is the bookstore. It's probably helped the bookstore more by having that Starbucks there. This is a view of Gym 1, also all set up. This gym here is 15,000 square feet. So you can put 600 to 800 people with tables. This is probably set up either for a Chamber of Commerce dinner or our athletic banquet. They all look very similar. We have invested in all of these things: round tables, long tables, carpet tiles. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then this is Gym 2, where we're having a big academic fair as part of our welcome weekend. It's 11,000 square feet. And then the Colbank one that I just showed you set up for the prom is about 8,000 square feet. Here is the track you can see going around Gym 2, and it also goes all the way around Gym 1. Here's the track. So that's hence 5 times around is a mile. It's a nice track. So just to talk about conference services real quick, we do a lot of events, internal and external. I used to oversee conference services, and I finally said, stop. I have an exercise physiology degree. I am not a conference planner, and fortunately, you know, I was spending literally 2/3 of my job doing conference services. Maybe the only advantage is in my past, I have worked at a Four Seasons and coordinated with a lot of conference services for the recreation side. So I was obviously familiar with conference services, but luckily they just recently changed that, and I no longer have to oversee it, although we all work very closely with conference services because it's in our building. So here's some of the kind of events they have: weddings, banquets, robotics. Robotics is becoming enormous because of NASA down here and ASA, and they do almost all of their events in our building, which take up the entire weekend and every one of our gyms. We do Dancing with the Stars, which is a United Way function, and they have all their banquets, their chamber, a big dinner here. There's conferences in that conference room. We also have internal meetings. We have academic classes as well. That's kind of been recent in the last 5 years. So the Health and Human Performance Department comes in and utilizes one of those gyms. And we sort of insist that they do it in what we consider downtime, which typically is about 9 a.m. to maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They kept encroaching farther and farther, all the way up till 4 o'clock. And I said, no, this is when our students need to come in and recreate in the gym. And, it was a collaborative agreement long before a lot of these people who now work for HHP there, but fortunately I had the original agreement in my email. And we do welcome weekend, orientations, the convocation, a lot. And student activities also chooses to do the majority of their events in this building. So what does it take for equipment and program needs? Those carpet tiles, we've invested in carpet tiles for all 3 gyms, and just FYI, the original cost of the carpet tiles for Gym 1 was $40,000. I'll just give Marcia a little heads up here. We noticed their carpet tiles when we were down there for their state program, which were very nice, darker, and now I'm advocating for repurchasing these tiles so they don't look dirty, because it's difficult to keep them clean. So it's all part of a kind of a 20-year plan, which is a big reserve fund that we have, I oversee. We had to buy staging, round and long tables, chairs, over 1,000, maybe more, chair racks, podiums. The conference center has their own kind of furniture, which is kind of nesting furniture, I call it, because you can rearrange the tables. They hook to each other in many different ways so that you can have a big U shape, you can have a classroom shape. They're all stored upstairs in that conference area. Audio-visual equipment. And in our building, we have a scheduled lighting and sound program. Bill's in charge of this. We have it scheduled for our recreation hours, but then let's say student activities has an event and goes till after our hours, like midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, we have to change the lighting program. So the lights don't turn off on them. All of these things are stored in our large storage room in the Falcon Center. We have been reduced to literally one small section, and we have it like blocked off, like don't put one table or chair in this section, and when they do, we move it, because we've had to like give up so much of our storage to all this conference stuff. Okay, this is just, oh no, here, now it's Spencer's time.
I'm going to hop in and talk about our recreation activities. So a couple of things I'm going to talk about. I'll talk about open recreation, intramurals, club sports, fitness and wellness programming, group fitness classes, and general community use as well. Just to kind of expand on the community use, some of the things that we utilize, or the community utilizes the facility for, are parties, swim lessons, and the Falcon Day Camp. And I'll talk about all of those in depth as we move forward here. Fairmont State Athletics also utilizes the facility for practices a lot. And again, I'll expand a little more on that as well. And we have external groups come in for camps, and I think there's some sub points. Do I hit next? Yeah, basketball leagues, soccer, and general camps. All right, so let's talk about open recreation a little bit. We do have a weight and fitness room. The weight and fitness room has 3 sections, basically 3 main sections. The first section that I talked about is the selectorized weight equipment section. This is kind of your machine area where you have selectorized equipment for isolation movements, things of that nature. In the center, we have a very large cardio section. Cardio section has various pieces of equipment. We have treadmills, we have ellipticals, we have a couple different kinds of ellipticals. We also have a lateral elliptical as well, and stair steppers as well. And then we have our free weight area. The free weight area contain, and we keep this updated fairly frequently. We always try and interview our patrons and our student workers and see what we can keep in our area to keep everybody kind of, as the demographic changes and the populations change, we want to keep everyone interested. So the free weight area has multiple squat racks, multiple benches, and various selection of dumbbells. The open track Robin talked about. The track is open for use at all times, 5 laps around. It's suspended throughout the whole facility, which is really nice. And then the pool is open for use as well. The pool has open hours outside of reservation hours, and that's where the majority of the use comes in. Inside the pool, you've got the sauna and the hot tub. Sauna and the hot tub are very popular, so that'll be interesting to see as we phase these things open, how that's going to go. And then our open gym use is huge as well. All the gyms, when they are available, are open for free play and recreation play with basketball. There's ping pong tables, there's foosball table. And then we can check out items like basketball, soccer. We have volleyball nets to set up, tennis nets to set up, and just any general free play that you can think of goes on in the gyms when they're available for recreation. Intramurals, again, Tina Mascaro's over our intramurals, intramurals department. A couple of the more popular leagues, we have leagues like basketball, flag football, and dodgeball. Basketball is a really big one in the spring. Multiple teams play each other for a big tournament in the spring. And you can see in the picture here, that's a little bit, that's a snapshot from a game in Gym 2 right below our weight room. We also have groups utilize indoor soccer, and then there's a lot of single night events as well. There's a casino night. They do like cards. They have different kinds of basketball events, 3-point shootout, foul shot, ping pong tournaments, all kinds of single night events. Knocker ball used to be a big one as well. And then also under Tina, we have club sports. Club sport opportunities, cheerleading, dance, track, men's rugby, women's volleyball, women's rugby, and here's a snapshot from a women's rugby team as well, and the Fairmont State mascot. While the Fairmont State mascot is not a club sport, the mascot is housed in our club sport department, so all mascot duties are usually are housed in our building as well. Fitness and wellness programming, this is my area. A couple different things that I do. We have our intern personal training program. Intern personal training program is kind of unique to our area. Personal training is something that we didn't have for a long time. We had the wellness program a couple years ago, but one thing we kind of lacked was a personal training program. So I designed a program kind of based off of Radford's model, where we actually partner with our exercise science department and bring in intern personal trainers that report directly to me, and then we can offer personal training to the Falcon Center members at no cost. So it's something that is still in early stages. We've been running it for about a year, and we'll see how this coming year goes with all the new possible restrictions in place. We have a large health and wellness outreach program now. The flagship program for our health and wellness outreach is Total Wellness Tuesday. This is a large tabling event where every Tuesday we partner with a different area on campus and bring a professional from a certain area or dimension of health in to share information. This is a snapshot from blood pressure screening day. We actually partnered with the nursing department. They're a big collaborator of ours. They come in 3 or 4 times a semester, and they set up a table. They hand out some useful information. They screen for blood pressure. And it's a very large, successful event as well. We recently brought in some leadership team building opportunities. A big one we've been doing, if you can hit the next bullet, escape rooms have been a massive hit. Actually, last year's NERSA State, we did some escape rooms down at Marshall. And down there, it was a team building exercise that we liked so much, we decided to design a team curriculum for escape rooms that we could implement in our own facility, and it's actually been a huge hit. We usually have a participation of around 40 to 50, lows in the 20s, but that's actually a lot for some of our events. Outdoor fitness challenges. fitness competitions, just some examples of some other fitness and wellness events. This past semester, we were going to do a girls' night of fitness. We were really excited to put that on, but it did get postponed due to the pandemic. So we'll see if we can, when we can hold that in the future. Some other fitness and wellness programming. We have a holistic wellness program now. Let me talk about the annual health and wellness fair real quick. Every year we hold a health and wellness fair, very large, kind of like expo type event where we bring in different people who want to set up tables and share information on health and wellness. And we bring the students in, usually have some prizes to hand out for people for visiting the different tables. It's a very large event. Our holistic wellness program we have what we call the essential oils wellness program. This is kind of where we are trying to bring in a different population to the rec center that might normally not come in, and we're targeting different areas of targeting different interests that students have. Down here, this is a picture to your right of one of our essential oils classes called I Am Fabulous. I Am Fabulous. It usually had an average participation of between 6 and 12, but it was a class basically teaching you how to use essential oils properly. We supplied all of the oils for that, and it was a hit with that population. So we're going to find different ways to keep the essential oils wellness program rolling. Virtual fitness opportunities. These are kind of like go at your own pace fitness challenges or programs for people that don't necessarily want to show up to an event, but want to do something on their own. A couple examples of those, we had like a Stepmageddon challenge where we had like a template for students to print out or have on their computers or their phones. And it's kind of like if you get 10,000 steps a day, you check it off. So we try and do one of those once a month. Those are also very popular. And of course, during COVID-19, we had a lot of virtual fitness offerings. Designed a landing page on our website to try and keep students moving, try and keep fitness and wellness going, where they go to this page, they had lots of resources, links, things of that nature to help them continue on their fitness journey while they are staying at home. And looking forward, a lot is probably going to change as we move into some possible hybrid virtual fitness and wellness. Depending on what our group sizes can be, we may have to find ways to design programs that are partially online and partially in person for those large events that might not be able to be held completely in person. So those are just things that we're getting ready to prepare for. Group fitness classes, we have a couple different types of offerings. We have traditional offerings like your yoga, your Zumba. Give me just a sec. There we go. Pound, spinning. And then we have some unique offerings as well, where we have instructors, certified instructors come in with their own different types of classes. This semester, for example, we had a class called Core Fusion, cardio toning, butts and guts. We had a gentle stretch. Our class schedule changes semesterly. We try and keep it pretty steady, but that is often that's based off of instructor availability, the instructors we have that semester. And then we have our Fitness on Demand program. In one of our studio rooms, we have the Fitness on Demand, which gives you an instructorless experience. It's basically a kiosk on the wall and a large flat screen television. And you can go into the kiosk, which is like an iPad mounted on the wall, select a group fitness class that you want to participate in, and then basically participate at your own pace. We also schedule those classes. So the virtual fitness classes can be on Fitness on Demand, do have their own time slots, which during that time, someone wouldn't be able to play their own on-demand fitness. These two pictures here is an example of a spinning class we once had. I think that's Robin is the instructor, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and Robin is the instructor. And then down below, this is our one of our pound classes. And you can kind of see behind the group, that's our television for our Fitness on Demand. And to the left of that television, you see that white square on the wall, not the white dispenser, but closer to the TV. That's the little kiosk where students can go onto that kiosk and select a class that they want to take on their own time. Communities use our facility a lot. We offer party packages. Our 2 party packages are pool parties and bounce house parties. We also offer swim lessons. There are different types of lessons as well. We have private and semi-private. Private is just one-on-one with our swim instructor. And semi-private, of course, is like a small group where it's either 2 or 3 people. Falcon Day Camp is huge. And last summer, I actually got a chance to work with Falcon Day Camp when I subbed for our day camp like co-director when she was on vacation. It's an 8-week summer camp throughout the summer. Every week is themed. There's a different theme. Sometimes it's like a beach theme. Sometimes it's a science theme. And there's activities coordinated around those themes that are very learning activities that are fun and informative, but then also there's a lot of fun stuff to do as well. Like they're in the pool a lot. They have a bounce house to play in once a week. We set that up for them. Sometimes there's breaks, give them a little brain break where there's movies and computer breaks as well. It's a lot of fun, and it's a very, very popular thing around campus. We did notice lately the Falcon Day Camp is becoming more and more popular, and it seems we're getting a lot more faculty and staff families involved as well, which is really awesome. Unfortunately, we can't have it this year, but we're looking forward to seeing what we can do with it next year. Fairmont State athletic use, this is something that I'm sure that might not be seen in a lot of other universities, but with the expansion of athletic sports on our campus, we see a lot of new students, lot of new students coming onto campus, which is really awesome. So it's an awesome opportunity when we add new sports. For example, we just added wrestling as an NCAA sport at our school, and the Akron tumbling team, which there's a picture of right there, they were added very recently as well within the last few years. Because of this, the expansion of athletic sports, there's limited practice space in the athletic facility. So to try and help accommodate them in the best way we can and to try and make sure everybody gets practices in, they come down to our facility in the Falcon Center or the Coal Bank facility and hold their practices. Some external groups also use our building. We have basketball leagues come in. 2 basketball leagues we have are MC Park Youth Leagues, which is the Marion County Parks and Recreation, and then our City Church League as well for our younger kids. Soccer camp opportunities, many soccer camps come in for group training, group soccer training. We have a few different groups that come in and do private group training as well. They just kind of reserve the space and they utilize the space during a downtime, and then they train it's usually like a little camp. Different camps that also utilize our facility. We have band camps, as well as the Governor's Honor Academy is on rotation. So I think they're at West Virginia right now, but before they rotated to West Virginia, they were spent the summer at Fairmont State. And down here's kind of a picture of the Governor's Honors Academy when they were at Fairmont. We have different youth sports camps that come through the facility as well, even though we don't facilitate those camps. Like, for example, the basketball team facilitates a basketball camp, the softball team at the softball camp, etc. They do use our facility, whether it's for practices, they come in and use the cafeteria, they might recreate in their downtime. So in the summertime, we do see a large influx of young student athletes come in and use our facility as well. And then I will turn it back over to Robin, and she's going to talk about all of this crazy stuff that we have going on. How exactly do we prioritize what we schedule?
Yeah, so it's a juggle. Actually, Spencer and I were saying we didn't really realize how much we did in this building till we put this PowerPoint together. So Fairmont State, we obviously need a calendar program of some sort, and we have looked at various programs from the beginning. So when I was there in the beginning, I found a program, just kind of what I thought would work in-house for scheduling. The history of that was everybody loved it. Then they took it away and put it somewhere else and tried to schedule the entire campus with it, and then that didn't really work so well. Recently, they built from our IT department, kind of what we call an in-house reservation program. They actually used a version of our website, which I believe was Drupal, to make this program. It worked for many years, but after a while, it's because it wasn't really updated. It stopped working effectively, and now the personnel that created the program no longer work at the college. So we Phil and me and Spencer and others, we started researching different kind of programs and to present to the IT and administration, knowing full well that it was a conference services, catering, setup, all the different things that is completely unique to the Falcon Center versus any other building on campus. But the administration decided to use a current program that the library services was using. Okay, so obviously it has limitations for all that's happening in the Falcon Center, but it didn't cost us anything. And basically they encouraged us to kind of make it work. So over obviously conference services and Falcon Center, we communicate constantly and the guidelines are ever changing. I'm going to click in. I hope you guys can see this. Can you see it, the scheduling program?
Yes.
Go ahead, Spencer.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about this program real quick. I won't go into the details and show you all the features because that would take 6 hours. But we will talk a little bit about how the program works. So basically what you're looking at is the Falcon Center home calendar. The university has several calendars. The Falcon Center is just the one that's designated to us. So every area has their own calendar. Student activities has a calendar. Student athletics has a calendar. Academics has a calendar, and so on and so forth. There's just a lot of calendars. And usually, like in our case, for the Falcon Center, there's an internal calendar that is for our internal eyes, our internal use, for our staff, and for conference services. And then there's an external calendar where someone like you wanting to come see what's going on in our facility from the public can kind of click onto this calendar and see what's going on exactly. So just to give you an example of how this works, if someone from the university wants to schedule something in the calendar, there is a booking form where they would go to, and I don't know if you can pull that up. That might be too difficult to pull up. But basically, someone from the university can pull up a booking form and fill out the information and try and reserve space for their event. And that request goes to a moderator for the space, which all of us on staff are moderators for the Falcon Center, but there is like a chain of command. So, and Phil would be first, and if for some reason Phil or Robin aren't around, it would go down to like Tina, and then if Tina's not around, I could handle the requests as well. And then if that space is approved, then you can book your event. The booking feature is only available to university members, so people with a fairmontstate.edu address. So if you want to book something in our building externally, as you're not a university member, that's when you would contact our conference services and they would book through them and they would set it up for you. So, and the challenges of this, there's a lot of challenges with rec because of the teardowns and setups, but we as a team have been able to collaborate and find a way where we have compromised with the university and we are making it work for our purposes in the best way possible. And I think we're doing a great job at it. So anything I've left out there, Robin, or you think that's it?
No, I think they kind of said this was a Band-Aid approach because quite honestly, aren't that happy with it. It is controlled by our IT department. Originally, they had sort of an external calendar, an internal calendar. They said, we don't want you to put anything on the external calendar. Our marketing department will determine that. We had to switch it all over to the internal calendar. We had to have some special widgets made so these external and internal kind of like come together so our students at the reception desk knew what was happening in our building, because people would walk up to the front desk and say, hey, where's the spelling bee? Well, that has nothing to do with recreation. So then they could at least pull up this calendar and tell them, oh, it's in conference room 1. So, they do far more than recreation in our building. So this is nothing in writing. I like to say that. We have been battling with this for a long time, for like 20 plus years, to have some sort of like reservation guideline, but we will stand behind this. We have 3 gyms and we have to always leave 1 available for recreation. 1 out of 3. Only the president of our college can override that decision. So when so-and-so wants a gym, so-and-so wants a gym, so-and-so wants a gym, we're saying, no, we need to leave one gym open. Sometimes they go above us and say, well, I'm going to ask the president. Now, the president has to make that decision. You know, I don't feel like she overrides it that often, but for like robotics, for welcome weekend, things like that, all 3 gyms are used and we put up signage, and I always feel that we're just super grateful our students are understanding. It is kind of a first come, first serve with that booking form. That gets changed at times, but that becomes the big juggle, constantly looking at all these requests and who gets what. So for that, we book our events in a year in advance, and so do others, like the United Way Chamber of Commerce dinner. That's a good example. They need it a certain date before they put all this promotion out. Repeating events can only be booked 1 semester in advance, and a good example of that is academic classes, or maybe that soccer camp. We're not going to let them book out our gyms years in advance when we might need to use it for other things. But it is a constant juggle of priorities. So although there are no written policies in place, here's a typical priority: recruiting. We have to just be good employees and say, okay, recruiting events are important. We need our students, or really none of us have a job. Internal Falcon events are second. Then we have these internal academic and athletics. We battle a little bit with athletics, and sometimes I go to my supervisor, who's a chief financial officer, who's on the executive leadership team, to talk to the president. Like, we can't have athletics take our space. We need to work through this. And then external events are last. So this just kind of gives you, I didn't even put the external events because they change, but these are sort of the costs to utilize our facility. As you can see, it takes a lot to set up a gym, so there's no partial day. But some of the other rooms are partial. This cost, even though people internally really whine and complain about this quite a lot, all it really does is cover the cost of labor, which is setting it up, tearing it down, cleaning, the replacement needs, and then audio-visual needs are always at an extra cost. So here's our challenge, is to coincide recreation with conference services, because there are always potential barriers. We have a very open concept of our facility, as you can see. So, you know, sound systems aren't great. They echo. You know, we have to determine if someone's having a very unique event, we're going to probably put them in Colbank, like a symphony, because you can't put a symphony in Gym 1 that has 50, 70-foot ceiling. Prioritizing events per administration versus recreation. Coexisting with academics. Like I said, they're always sort of pushing the envelope, wanting more and more. How to schedule around all these setups and teardown times. How everyone feels that their event is the only important event. Because we hear on and on about my event, my, but there's like 10 other events. So how do we overcome these barriers? We learn to play nice. I mean, it's a juggle, and lots of times, because we are recreation professionals and we want our students first. So we negotiate and we do compromise, and we are very flexible in adjusting all of these schedules. They change regularly. We pre-reserving our spaces for recreation and fitness events way in advance. So that health fair we talked about, that's ours. And that gym is ours. And nobody is going to override that large event that we have. And we do try to make students our first emphasis. So again, fortunately, it's not a lot, but there are times when our entire facility is used and it's not recreational. Sometimes I say, hey, to the athletics, if you're going to take all of our gyms for whatever reason for this welcome weekend, and your gyms aren't, you know, being utilized, can we send our students up there? It doesn't work that well, but we try. So that's kind of it in a ball game, and we just wanted to open it up to anybody who might have, you know, any questions. I know that this building is unique. It was actually built to be like this from the beginning, since the building was already built when I got there, but from the very, very beginning, it was meant to be multifunctional and be prepared, basically. I know that Marshall, I don't know if anybody's on the Marshall group here, because they wouldn't have those carpet tiles if they weren't having special events that were going on top of their gyms. And I know when I actually worked at WVU in the beginning, when it first opened, and I luckily got to share office with Sandra Peppel. I don't know if she's on this call, but we've been good acquaintance ever since. They used to have parts of graduation take place in that building because of all of the gyms that you have going there. I don't know if they do that anymore. So at times, because we have such a large facility, other people do want to use it.
I did get a question to me privately about asking if you can email me to talk about things like escape rooms and the public outreach. And absolutely, just if anyone needs to email me at any time, I don't know if I can put my email in the chat, but I'll put my email in the chat if anyone has any questions about any kind of outreach. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put my email in the chat just in case anyone wanted to talk about anything. You can email me at any time just to address that. There we go. Can everybody see that? Cool. Okay.
Okay, well, that is our presentation, Stephanie. If nobody have any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm about to throw in a link to a presentation review form in the chat. So if everybody doesn't mind taking a few minutes and doing that, that can help if this group wants to do their presentation again anywhere else, just having the feedback in general. I believe our next session today is at 1 o'clock. And it's a roundtable, so we hope to see you all there. But thank you, Robin and Spencer. I know I really enjoyed the presentation, and I'm sure I speak for everyone in that as well.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we're glad to be part of this. It's a great group. It's gotten a lot larger. I can see that with all the people watching. So maybe this is something to consider. Those who don't want to travel, we could do a little bit of hybrid in the future. Some of this and some on site. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.